Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you. For holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you. Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment. Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment. Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you. Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you. Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the New Jersey Transit conference call. The conference call will begin at 6 p.m. If you wish to enter the queue to make a public comment, you can do so by pressing star 1 on your phone at any time. Once again, if you wish to enter the queue to make a public comment, please press star 1 on your phone at any time. You will hear a brief tone to indicate that you are in queue. Once again, please press star 1 if you wish to enter the queue to make a public comment. The conference call will begin at approximately 6 p.m.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
For holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment. for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the New Jersey Transit conference call. The conference will begin at approximately 6 p.m. If you wish to enter the queue to make a public comment, you can do so at any time by pressing star 1 on your phone. Once again, you can enter the queue to make a public comment by pressing star 1 on your phone at this time. Your conference call will begin at approximately 6 p.m. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you for joining the New Jersey Transit conference call. Your conference call will begin in just a couple of minutes. If you haven't already done so and you wish to make a public comment, please press star 1 on your phone at any time. You will hear a brief little tone once you press star 1, and that will tell you that you've entered the queue. Once again, if you wish to enter the queue to make a public comment, please press star 1 on your phone at any time. Your conference call will begin very shortly.
We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
For holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Good evening. I hereby call to order the Board of Directors' regularly scheduled meetings of the New Jersey Transit Corporation, New Jersey Transit Rail Operations, Inc., New Jersey Transit Bus Operations, Inc., New Jersey Transit Mercer, Inc., and New Jersey Transit Morris, Inc.
Good evening, Chair Gutierrez, Scacchetti, and board members. I will now take roll call. Board Member Adams?
Here.
Board Member Doshi is absent at this meeting. Board Member Gordon?
Here.
Thank you. Board Member Marocco?
Here.
Thank you. Board Member Nara?
Here.
Thank you. Board Member Spalla?
Here.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin?
Here.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton?
Here.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez, Scacchetti?
Here.
Thank you. Next is the Open Public Meetings Notice. This is a regular meeting of the New Jersey Transit Corporation and its affiliates and subsidiaries. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and New Jersey Transit's enabling legislation. Notice was filed on February 3rd, 2022 with the Secretary of State and sent to newspapers of general distribution, posted in the main entrance of New Jersey Transit headquarters, published on the corporation's website, and sent to each individual, agency, and organization that requested such notice.
Thank you, Joyce. At this time, may I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the January 10th, 2022 board meetings?
Motion, Nara.
Second, Giblin.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Joyce, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Marocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Spalla?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez, Scacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
At this time, I will call upon President and CEO Kevin Corbett to present his monthly report.
Thank you, and good evening, Chair, excuse me, and members of the board, and good evening to all members of the public joining us tonight online. We have a lot to cover today, so I'll get right to it. We'll begin with our COVID-19 update. Unfortunately, New Jersey Transit has lost 2 more employees to COVID-19 related complications since our January board meeting. Rail employee Flory Fitkow, well beloved by her colleagues serving NJ Transit for more than 26 years, most recently as supervisor of train operations. Many of us look forward to Flory's 8 a.m. morning reports, taking comfort in knowing she was on top of things at the start of our day. We also mourn the passing of Washington Township bus operator Robert Gallo, who served NJ Transit for more than 10 years. Robert was hired as a part-time bus operator in 2011 and promoted to full-time in 2013. He normally worked the 551 line between Atlantic City and Philadelphia and would occasionally work the 408 line between Millville and Philadelphia. I ask that you keep Flory and Robert's family, friends, and coworkers in your thoughts and prayers. We'll always be grateful for their service. And now I'd ask for a moment of silence in their honor. Thank you. Fortunately, we have seen a dramatic decrease this month in the number of currently positive COVID cases amongst our employees. As of yesterday, 65 employees out of approximately 12,000 are currently positive, down from 797 at our last board meeting and a high of 821 on January 12th. Ridership is also showing signs of bouncing back after the last dip last month attributable to the COVID surge in the holiday season. Weekday rail ridership is at approximately 40% of pre-COVID levels, which is up from approximately 30% during the height of the last surge last month. After a decrease due to the surge from approximately 80% to approximately 40% of pre-COVID levels, average rail ridership on weekends is up to approximately 50%. System-wide bus ridership is climbing back up to more than 60%, up from approximately 50% at the height of the recent surge, with interstate ridership into New York at approximately 55%. Light rail ridership is once again holding steady at approximately 70% of pre-COVID levels. As ridership returns, we continue to plan for the future by working to not only encourage customers to return to transit, but to bring a whole new generation of customers into our system. Toward that end, we have good news regarding our robust transit-oriented development program. Last month, the Federal Transit Administration announced that NJ Transit will receive a $470,000 grant to study potential TOD at key bus locations along the Route 9 bus corridor in Middlesex and Monmouth County. TOD remains a high priority at New Jersey Transit and a key element of NJT 2030, our 10-year strategic plan. Increasing ridership, declining COVID cases, and enhancing transit-oriented development opportunities are encouraging developments. I'd like to take a moment to address one unfortunate outgrowth of this pandemic, an increase in assaults on transit workers. To be clear, there's no issue more important to us than protecting our employees, and it is unacceptable that our indispensable frontline employees who kept our state moving during the pandemic should be an outlet for anyone's pent-up frustrations. That is why we continue to work on many fronts to ensure that everything is being done to keep them safe. Toward that end, we are proud that Governor Murphy signed into law the Motor Bus and Passenger Rail Service Employee Violence Prevention Act. This new law makes assaulting a transit employee a third-degree aggravated assault with penalties of 3 to 5 years in prison and up to a $15,000 fine. In addition, NJ Transit can now ban riders for up to 1 year if they commit an assault against an employee. If a deadly weapon is used, that rider could be banned for life. We're working in many other ways to protect our employees. In addition to extensive public messaging throughout the system, we routinely patrol our buses, trains, and light rail systems with uniformed and plainclothes police officers. We have installed protective barriers in every one of our 2,500 buses. And in June 2019, we created the Employee Court Advocate position to fully support employees who are victims of assault, helping them navigate the criminal justice system at no cost to the employee. The advocate also works with prosecutors to see that assailants face a full sentence allowable by law. This new legislation, combined with these other efforts, now serve as powerful deterrents to any type of assault against our frontline employees. We thank Governor Murphy for leading the charge to implement this new legislation and for working diligently to keep our employees safe. We once again have a busy agenda today with several important items up for board consideration. We'll highlight just a few. We look forward to board approval for the purchase of an additional 25 new multi-level free rail cars. These new rail cars are a critical component of the Portal North Bridge project, which will allow us to meet our established goals for increased capacity. Equally important are the benefits they will offer customers through improved reliability, comfort, and onboard amenities, including charging ports and state-of-the-art video information systems. To be clear, these new cars will be in addition to 113 new multi-level 3 rail cars purchased in December 2018. We will also be seeking board approval for 2 other important items. One is for the award of a contract for our Middlesex County area local bus service. The second is for the award of a 1-year extension for continued improvements, maintenance, and support of our fare payment and collection systems. The board will also consider approval of our fiscal year 2022 operating budget. This simply would not have been possible without all the federal COVID relief funding we received, which has allowed us to maintain full service through the pandemic without employee layoffs or increasing fares. We thank Senator Menendez, Senator Booker, and New Jersey's entire congressional delegation for their tireless efforts to help us obtain this critical funding. In addition to our operating budget, we're equally focused on our capital infrastructure. I'll now share an update on our zero-emission bus program. Our agency's first ever electric buses will be operating in revenue service by the end of this year in Camden. As we shared last week at our Operations and Customer Service Committee meeting, the electric bus charging infrastructure necessary for this project, installed at our Newton Avenue bus garage, is essentially complete. We have been testing the charging infrastructure with a leased bus and expecting the infrastructure to be fully commissioned in the coming weeks. Our first electric bus is scheduled to arrive later this year in June, with the remaining 7 buses expected by year-end. NJ Transit remains on schedule to meet the requirements laid out in Governor Murphy's zero-emission bus procurement legislation, and we remain committed to transitioning NJ Transit's bus fleet to 100% zero emissions by 2040. To help support our ambitious zero-emission bus goals, as well as meet current and future capacity demands, on Monday, NJ Transit announced an upcoming industry forum for our new Northern Bus Garage project, through which we will build a new 500-bus garage. This new garage will not only provide increased storage and maintenance capacity, it will build from the ground up with the necessary infrastructure to support a 100% zero-emission bus fleet. NJ Transit is seeking feedback from industry participants to inform the scope of the procurement, choice of the delivery model, means of transitioning to a zero-emission bus fleet, and/or support revenue potential. The virtual forum will be held on Monday, March 14th from 9 to 10:30 Eastern Standard Time and is open to industry professionals at no cost. Firms interested in attending the forum are invited to visit njtransit.com/northernbusgarage to register. In addition to the board actions mentioned earlier, the board will also consider the approval of Jim Sincaglia as Senior Vice President and General Manager of Rail Operations. Jim has been serving in this role in an acting capacity and has certainly earned this promotion. Jim started his career here more than 26 years ago, and through hard work and dedication, rose through the ranks to eventually serve in his current position following the tragic and untimely passing of Ray Kenny in 2020 due to COVID-related complications. Jim has stepped up in a big way to fill some very large shoes indeed. To name just a few of his many accomplishments over the last 2 years, Jim has led the successful implementation of our Positive Train Control project before the December 31st, 2020 deadline, and oversaw the full restoration of our depleted ranks of locomotive engineers, which has improved on-time performance for customers by virtually eliminating cancellations caused by locomotive engineer availability. Jim has also strengthened our entire rail operations division by bringing in the next generation of leadership into critical roles. These include 2 key promotions of experienced rail leaders, including James Devine to Deputy General Manager of Labor Relations and Administration, who drove the successful negotiations of labor agreements with nearly all our rail unions, and Fred Chittister, who under Jim led the day-to-day implementation of PTC as our Senior Director of PTC Coordination, and was recently promoted to Deputy General Manager of Equipment. And speaking of high-caliber pipelines of future leaders, I'm also pleased to pass on the news that Jonathan Kirby, New Jersey Transit's Positive Train Control Chief Road Foreman, has been named Railway Age's prestigious Fast Trackers list for 2020. These annual awards are presented to 25 railroaders under the age of 40 in the United States, Canada, and Mexico for making an impact in the respective fields or within their company. John was instrumental in our efforts to achieve full PTC certification before the December 31st, 2020 deadline. We congratulate John for the award and thank him for his many efforts to improve safety and service at NJ Transit. As you can see, NJ Transit recognizes the importance and value of our employees. We also seek to recognize the importance of a welcoming and inclusive environment for all our employees. To that end, February is the month that NJ Transit recognizes as Black History Month and joins with the rest of the nation in acknowledging and honoring the many contributions that members of the Black community have made and continue to make to our nation's history. As some of you may remember, around this time last year, NJ Transit celebrated the launch of its first ever company employee resource group, called the SERG, for the Black African American community and its allies to create a model for volunteer employee-led groups. Over the past year, this SERG has held virtual events attended by hundreds of employees to honor Martin Luther King Jr., Juneteenth, Black History Month, and others, beginning a new era of inclusiveness and sense of community at NJ Transit. It has also inspired the launch of additional organization-wide diversity and inclusion focus groups, including SERGs for LGBTQ+, Asian American Pacific Islanders, women and emerging generations, with other SERGs in the pipeline. Without a doubt, these efforts are making us a more welcoming and inclusive organization and a more attractive employer as illustrated by our being named to the renowned 2021 Forbes list of America's best employers. I'm confident we will continue to further distinguish ourselves as a model organization in this space. Before closing, I want to make sure everyone knows about our fiscal year 2021 annual report, which is now available at our website, njtransit.com/2021 annual report. It offers a substantive summary of the year's progress, accomplishments, and customer experience improvements. It's a collective hard work of every department in this organization, which I believe comes clear through all the pages of this year's report. I hope when you get a chance to review it, you'll feel as proud as we do for the work we've done as an agency over the last year, particularly when we were all still contending with the challenges imposed by the pandemic. I'd also like to acknowledge the continued success of our NJT Rewards program, which just yesterday surpassed the 100,000 mark for participating customers in just 10 months. The program boasts 113 participating retail, entertainment, and dining venues where customers can use points earned through ticket purchases on the mobile app for deals and discounts. The NJT Reward program is one element of a broader strategy to help attract riders back to transit. Customers, as well as businesses interested in becoming partners, should visit njtrewards.com for more information. In closing today, I'd like to provide yet another example of the fine work of our very own New Jersey Transit Police Department. Last month, in the dark of night, NJTPD officers rushed to the scene of a reportedly intoxicated man who had been trespassing on the tracks and was struck by a Princeton-Dinky line train. After hearing screams coming from a heavily wooded swamp area, and without regard for their safety, NJTPD officer Carmine Rocco, officers Tim Gahagan, and officer Jean Romain at West Windsor EMT rushed into a swamp near the tracks to find the man. Making their way through hundreds of feet of deep mud, ice-cold water, and tall reeds, they eventually found the man, who was responsive but also injured and immobile. The officers assisted in coordinating search and rescue. The first responders secured the man for transport and carried him through the marsh to an awaiting ambulance. Thanks to their brave actions, he was transported to the hospital and his injuries were treated. Sergeants Jason Conrad and Sergeant Aaron James, as well as Officer Mark Cullen, also assisted in the coordination, search, and rescue. Finally, many of you will remember our October board meeting when we paid tribute to our very own board secretary, Joyce Suchek, on the occasion of her 45th anniversary at New Jersey Transit. Today, we have another significant, albeit bittersweet, announcement. Very sadly for NJ Transit, but probably a little less sad for her, Joyce has announced her retirement. This will be her last meeting as our board secretary, and I'm lucky enough to be with Joyce now, along with our board chair. And Joyce, I simply want to reiterate what a pleasure it has been to work with you for the 4+ years I've been here, plus everyone I know on the board and everyone at NJT, both present and many alum, wish you the very best after such a long and distinguished career. And we're not going to let you go without a formal recognition of your talents and contributions over the entire history of NJ Transit. And with that, it's my pleasure to turn the floor over to our board chair. Diane?
Thank you, Kevin. First, just deep gratitude to our New Jersey Transit Police for the good work that they do day in and day out. May not be so dramatic as the water rescue, but without them, our system would not run as smoothly or as safely as it does. But I am going to take a moment in the chair's privilege to say a few words about Joyce. There has been very little that I would call normal or consistent in the last 2 years. I look back and think it was just about 2 years ago when we were last at New Jersey Transit for an in-person board meeting. But what I can say without any hesitation is Joyce has brought both consistency and normalcy and order to the work that this agency has had to do through its board. Joyce hasn't skipped a beat, missed a mark. She has not let us down at one turn when it has come to scheduling board meetings, scheduling many committee meetings, working through agenda items that are on, that are off, that are delayed, that are moved forward. She has done it all in my 4 years of working with her, with a smile on her face and a dedication to an agency and an agency's mission that is truly unparalleled. And so while we are, as Kevin said, sad that Joyce will no longer be here with us at board meetings, we know that she's done two very important things. First, she has trained people that work with her to allow a seamless transition so that we will continue on as a board in the roles that we are obligated to perform for the public. But the second thing is she is meeting a tremendous commitment to her family, and everyone is certainly entitled to that. And Joyce, at 45 years, I'm pretty sure that we can say with a great certainty, you've put in your time, you set a tremendous example for so many public servants of what it means to be a public servant, and you will be sorely missed when we resume our in-person meetings and not seeing you at your desk in your office ready to go every day. And I know for me personally that I will miss you very much, but I know you won't be far away.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Would any of our board members like to comment?
Yeah, this is Rich Morocco. I just want to echo everything that you said about Joyce and to thank her for her many years of dedicated service. She will certainly be sorely missed by us, if no longer so missed by her family. And Joyce, thank you so much. I can't imagine being here without you, and I'm not looking forward to finding out how that works. But thank you very much, and congratulations on your retirement.
Madam Chair, it's Bob Gordon.
Yes,
Madam Chair,
Board Member, go ahead.
Thank you.
Board Member Gordon.
I'm sorry, who did you recognize?
You.
Oh, thank you. I, too, wanted to just add my heartfelt best wishes to Joyce and my thanks to her for dedicating her professional life to the citizens of New Jersey. You're going to be badly missed, and I just want to wish you the very best as you begin this next chapter in your life. I'd also like to just say a word of congratulations to Jim Cincaglia on his formal appointment as head of rail operations, and wish him the best as we continue serving the public. Thank you.
Chair, this is Board Member Nara, if I may.
Please go ahead.
I just want to say, Joyce, I wish you all the best. And I have to say, as a board member who came on during the pandemic, I have never had the pleasure of meeting you face to face. We spoke about this. But your remote connection to us and my fellow board members has been, invaluable. You have been an incredible person to work with and help me transition on the board. And so I thank you so very much. I wish you well, and I know becoming a grandmother is going to be incredible, and you are going to have so much to look forward to. So I wish you and your family all the best.
Thank you.
This is Vice Chair Fulton, if I may.
Absolutely.
Joyce, congratulations. I couldn't wish it for a better, nicer, kinder person. The way you've made me feel personally being part of this board speaks volumes to your character. You are extraordinarily good at what you do. It's amazing your ability to handle the seamless, nonstop issues associated with attending such an important organization and a board and all the issues that go along with that in an organization like New Jersey Transit. I want to commend you for your 45 years of dedicated service. It indeed is a model. And I just wish you all the best as you transition. As I've shared my stories with you of being a new grandfather, I just wish all the best for you as you step into that mantle of being a grandmother. So with all my heart, I wish you all the best, and thank you for all that you've done for me personally, for the board, and for the citizens of New Jersey.
Thank you.
Board Chair, this is Board Member Adams. Can I have the floor, please?
Of course.
Thank you. Joyce, I want to echo everything that has already been said, and I don't want to repeat it. I just want to tell one story, and I want everybody to know the type of dedicated employee and caring person that Joyce is. This is Joyce's last board meeting after 45 years of tremendous service. She called me today to ask me about an issue that I'm going to share with everybody. Usually I am the first person that speaks whenever there's an issue or whenever something's called on to vote or to speak. And I joke with Joyce every once in a while saying, Joyce, can you put me last? Can you put me in the middle? You know, I don't want to speak first. And I was only kidding, and I don't mind speaking first. But Joyce took the time out of her day to call me and ask me personally, Board Member Adams, do you really want me to place you someplace else in the order? And this just goes to show the character of Joyce, that she cares not only about the agency, she cares about the team members, but she cares about the board members. And again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Joyce, for your service. And New Jersey Transit's loss is your grandbaby's gain. So good luck, and please stay in touch. Thank you, Board Chair.
Thank you.
Hey, Chair, it's Noreen Giblin. I don't know if I can just make a few quick remarks.
Of course, Noreen.
Joyce, just wanted to thank you for your extraordinary dedication to New Jersey Transit. 45 years is quite a milestone. I will tell you, I think you set the benchmark for running a responsive and professional board secretary's office. You did it all with impeccable grace and kindness. Just thank you for everything that you've done. I know we will all miss you. Your New Jersey Transit family will miss you. Just wish you, good health and much happiness as you embark on your next adventure. I know you're going to make a wonderful grandmother, and again, best wishes to you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We are now going to...
Chair, may I say one thing before
No, you can't. There's no way, Joyce. Okay, we're running out of time.
It's very quick.
You got 3 minutes.
Go ahead, Joyce. You can have 5.
Thank you. I don't need 5, but I'm truly overwhelmed by all of your kind and beautiful well wishes. I have been blessed to have a career at New Jersey Transit since its inception and creation in 1979. I am also very grateful to have worked with so many talented and professional people through the years. But I'm especially thankful for Chair Gutierrez-Scacchetti, our Board of Directors, and President Corbett for their leadership and support. It's been an absolute pleasure working with all of you, and you're bringing New Jersey Transit to number 1, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce. And now we will get back to the business of the evening. Operator, at this time, we would like to open the floor to public comments. Can you please provide instructions for entering the queue to make a public comment?
Certainly. Ladies and gentlemen, the floor is now open for public comments. If you would like to make a public comment, please press *1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Priority access will be given to any participant who has pre-registered, and these comments will be taken in turn. We will then take public comments from the remaining participants on a first-come, first-served basis. Each person will have 3 minutes for their public comment. A warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining, and again with 15 seconds remaining. Once again, please press *1 on your telephone keypad now to enter the queue to make a public comment. There are currently 18 speakers in queue at this time, and the first public comment is coming from Anna Leone. Anna, your line is live and your time will begin now. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, board members. Thank you for your service. My name is Anna Leone. I live in New Milford, New Jersey, Bergen County, and I would like to take this opportunity to talk about Access Link. I truly appreciate the service. I think it is a wonderful thing for residents of New Jersey. However, I must say that the service definitely needs to be tweaked and modernized in order to serve the population much better. Just pardon me, I'm visually impaired, so I'm trying to read my notes, so there may be breakages in what I'm trying to say. But in order to accomplish this goal, I feel that there must be increased funding or the budget should be increased for this purpose. For example, We need to also look at redefining what constitutes commuter buses. Many routes Access Link does not go to. However, New Jersey Transit buses periodically, every 5 minutes, may pass at various intersections. So I think we really need to redefine those structures and those routes. Also, I know that there's a shortage of drivers throughout the country in almost every aspect, but we truly, truly need to bring more drivers to Access Link. If a driver calls out, that disrupts everything. For example, I had a cardiologist's appointment this past Monday, and they were unable to come to pick me up at the time frame, and I even booked it with an hour and a half leeway. And I had to cancel that appointment, and my next appointment isn't until the end of March. So I really think that we must offer more attractive salaries, with no disrespect to New Jersey Transit bus drivers, but the Access
1 minute remaining.
Bus drivers do have to help people with wheelchairs. They have to ensure that their seat belts are on. So there's a lot more responsibility involved. Also, we need to reestablish perhaps several buses that will just deal with people going to medical facilities and hospitals as opposed to putting everyone together, those that are going to malls or food shopping, so that if there is a cancellation, those with medical needs will be prioritized. Also, I believe we need to increase the time frame with respect to making appointments. Right now, you can only do it a week ahead of time, and the schedulers will only know an hour before and an hour after
15 seconds remaining.
The time frame. So this needs to be modernized and updated. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Your next public comment is coming from Paula Rogovin. Paula, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. I'm Paula Rogovin. I want to thank you, Joyce, for your work all these years at New Jersey Transit, including some long and pretty rowdy board meetings. Congratulations and enjoy your retirement. Currently, I'm working with the environmental justice community in the Ironbound in Newark to stop the PVSC frack gas power plant. At the meetings with PVSC, we often hold up New Jersey Transit microgrid as a shining example of a pivot from a frack gas power plant to a renewable energy microgrid. However, I read the new New Jersey Transit RFP and took notes as best as I could, having been a teacher for 44 years. I just elementary school. It was a little tricky reading the notes, but I read them as best as I could. It didn't seem like the project was what we thought it was going to be, the one that Governor Murphy directed New Jersey Transit to pivot to, a renewable energy microgrid. What happened? I even have had the opportunity to attend stakeholder meetings, and I'm puzzled and shocked and seriously disappointed in this current New Jersey Transit RFP. I do want to know what happened, and I call on you to review and amend the RFP. It seems the new RFP seems to be about building a plant, a physical building in Kearney, in the floodplain, and perhaps a gas power plant. It's not the kind of thing that would work well if there were going to be a real renewable energy solution like solar and battery storage. Those would need to be distributed along the transit routes, not in a central location. And, you know, if this is going to be a gas plant, we then have the issue of pollution and climate change impacts. So I hope
1 minute remaining.
The new goal should be for an amended RFP with as much renewable energy as possible, and work should get going already on solar siting so that the use of solar and battery storage can be maximized. I didn't know this was going to be about selling power to Amtrak. That was a big surprise. Well, I think it's a great idea, only if there's no gas used in this. If this is going to be a gas power plant and we have to deal with more pollution, then no, there shouldn't be any selling of electricity to Amtrak. If it can be done with a hybrid of renewable energy, solar, hydro, wind, whatever, multiple types of renewable energy, that would be just fine for us. So please do everything possible to amend and correct the RFP. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Matthew Marino. Matthew, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for allowing my call. My name is Matthew Marino, and I'm calling from Bernardsville. And congratulations also, sounds like a great long-time employee there, so my congratulations and happy retirement. I ride the Gladstone line, and, I've been a commuter for a number of years. I grew up in Fanwood, Scotch Plains, so I was used to the Raritan Valley line. And I remember when they finally got the new trains, double-deckers, I was excited. I guess my question is, the Gladstone line, I kind of feel like has been neglected in terms of equipment. Our trains are old. They're really old. The seats are a little uncomfortable. I think the opening the doors, sometimes I feel like I'm going to throw out my shoulder when I try and open the door to kind of exit the train. I know the conductors do the best they can to open the doors, but they have the manual. They have to push down on a lever. The steps come up and all that, as opposed to just hitting a button like the modern trains. So I guess without going on, I guess my question is, when can the Gladstone line expect to get new trains, new rail cars for the passengers? We may not have as many passengers as some of the other lines do, but, our trains are old. Our passenger cars are old. And you can see the age on them, like interior. Someone mentioned, the president in his report mentioned train cars with plugs and people can plug in their devices and everything. We would like to have those same amenities. And I believe before COVID, I could be wrong, that the plan was to get new cars in by maybe 2023. I'm not sure if that's changed at all, but, I would really appreciate, and I think the Gladstone line riders really would appreciate an update as to when we can expect new train cars, because I think it would make ridership better. The conductors who, do a great job on the trains, it would make their jobs a little easier, even in terms of, opening the outer doors, pushing. Every time I see them push down on that lever on the bottom, you hear the slam, it hits the wall, and then all that, and even that can delay things a little bit. If you think about every time they have to do that, even if it's like 30 seconds, if you add that up all along the stops, that can make a train that's supposed to get in at 8:15 maybe get in, 8:20. So that's really my comment and question is I hope that there are plans very soon to upgrade the Gladstone line rail cars. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and I look forward to just continued good ridership. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Samantha DeFalco. Samantha, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hello, good evening. My name is Samantha DeFalco, and I'm an organizer with Food and Water Watch and a resident of Morris County, New Jersey. I'm speaking about the RFP that was released for the Transit Grid project, as the previous speaker, Paula Rogovin, did, and also as a member of the Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition, who was a big advocate for a renewable alternative to the proposed power plant. We have a number of concerns with the RFP that we believe allows for a gas plant to continue to be built as part of this project. We want to, have these problems addressed in an addendum to the RFP so that, we are using this massive amount of taxpayer dollars in the right way to build this project primarily with renewable energy. One big issue with this is that in the RFP, there's many references, and it seems a requirement of the project to have a central facility on the site in Kearney. A solution like this is not necessarily something that would work with a solar and battery storage solution or another renewable solution, which would need to be distributed across a large amount of property. And also the RFP did not include information about solar siting across transit property, because that's really the type of solution that would allow for this project to be done in a way that prioritizes renewable energy by maximizing renewable siting across train lines, on top of parking lots, parking garages, transit buildings, etc. Another big issue with it is that it allows proposals to be submitted that use fossil fuels and dirty energy now, as long as they can be transitioned to be carbon neutral by 2050. This is a big issue because it will allow for a new fossil fuel project to be built at a time when we need to get off of fossil fuels, both because of the climate and because of environmental justice. This is a region of New Jersey, Kearney, where this would be sited, that is completely overburdened with pollution, and this project would not be in line with the governor's environmental justice commitments. A goal should be to establish this project today with as close to 100% renewable energy as possible, using, like I said, this taxpayer dollars that should be invested in clean energy. We've got a number of other concerns with this project, and we're going to be raising these at our stakeholder meeting next week, and we look forward to having a productive dialogue about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Your next public comment is coming from Matthew Smith. Matthew, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Smith. I'm the New Jersey State Director for Food and Water Watch, speaking on behalf of our 72,000 members and supporters across the state, who, along with many other environmental advocates, public health advocates, public transit advocates, elected officials from 15 municipalities, 13 state legislators, all working together, were able to get Governor Murphy to reject the gas plant that New Jersey Transit had proposed and direct the agency to redesign it in a way that would not further pollute Kearney and the entire Meadowlands region. New Jersey Transit has spent the last year redesigning the framework for this project, and they issued this information this past December. As it's been said, there are critical issues with the new RFP, which would again allow for a gas plant at the center of this project. The RFP allows for proposals to be submitted that utilize fossil fuels or other forms of dirty energy, as long as they can be transitioned to carbon neutral by 2050. And they say that this would be in line with the governor's Energy Master Plan. However, they ignore the governor's Energy Master Plan's own interim targets for clean energy and energy storage. They ignore the interim targets codified by the 2018 Clean Energy Act, which require the state to achieve 50% Class 1 renewable energy by the end of this decade, along with 2,000 megawatts by the end of this decade of energy storage. By not aligning the project design in this new RFP with these interim goals, New Jersey Transit and the Murphy administration are undermining our state's best chance to protect public health, to reverse decades of environmental racism,
1 minute remaining,
and to avert climate catastrophe. We know that New Jersey Transit has spent millions of dollars in taxpayer money to retain consultants like Arcadis, who helped with this redesign. This redesign simply fails as written. It will not get New Jersey Transit to a clean energy project that Kearney and the entire region and state urgently need to protect health during a worsening climate crisis and in the wake of a destructive pandemic. New Jersey Transit must and can do better, and we are calling on the agency to work in good faith with the stakeholders, elected officials who are calling for a real redesign of this project to protect public health, environmental justice, and a livable climate future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Elizabeth Nadoy. Elizabeth, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, your line is live. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Nadoy. I am a longtime resident of Hoboken, a member of Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition, and a member of the Hoboken Democratic Committee. I've spoken before this board many times, and I was thrilled when I heard that you committed to dropping your plans for using frac gas to fuel your proposed power plant at Kearney. I envision not only the Kearney plant going alternative, but the future of New Jersey transportation going to alternative energy. I finally felt able to see a future where my children and grandchildren would be breathing cleaner, healthier air, where they would have an actual future because climate change was being slowed. I felt proud again to be a resident of New Jersey, where officials were taking bold, powerful steps to put the brakes on climate change. Maybe I thought the work I had done campaigning for Governor Murphy and the volunteering I had done with Don't Gas the Meadowlands and Food and Water Watch was finally paying off for our environment. Unfortunately, that sense of joy and triumph has now dissipated because I've heard and read in your RFP that New Jersey Transit has not removed the possibility of using frac gas from their proposal. You have stated that alternative energy may not be sufficient for this project. You have a renewed focus on a central facility rather than a distributed design, which would be more useful in a solar-powered plant. In fact, there is a complete lack of information about any research that you have done in siting locations for solar for this plant. This RFP also speaks of selling energy to Amtrak, which suggests that you will be running this plant for many more hours than are required than just for emergency situations. And I have a problem with that. This means that you will be using more dirty energy and creating more pollution. So I cannot state my disappointment loudly enough. I call on New Jersey Transit to live up on your initial promise and commitment. Don't back down now. Find an energy firm that can supply the alternative energy plan.
15 seconds remaining.
That can power not only the Kearney project, but your entire transportation microgrid. Make New Jersey the leader in alternative energy public transportation. It is the best and biggest hope to slow and retard the horrors of climate change so that we can see the health and well-being of our very young, very old, and the future generations to come. It sounds like...
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Sally Jane Geller. Sally Jane, your line is live. You may go ahead, and your time will begin now.
Thank you. Sally Jane Geller, Chairperson of Lackawanna Coalition. First and foremost, thank you for that food chair. Tonight does mark the end of an era. with the retirement of the last remaining employee from the founding of the agency. For the coalition and for myself personally, thank you, Joyce, for your gracious professionalism. You treat everyone with dignity and respect, and it makes these meetings both more pleasant and efficient. You will be missed. It's unfortunate that this is yet another virtual meeting. We would have liked to say goodbye in person. Perhaps when we're back at headquarters, the board will have you back for a proper farewell. Meanwhile, you have a standing invitation to the Lackawanna Coalition anytime. Congratulations and best wishes. Another career milestone tonight is the appointment of James Sinclair to Senior Vice President, General Manager of New Jersey Transit Rail Operations. Congratulations, Jim, and good luck going forward. We'd love to have you visit us at the Coalition in the near future also. And as people have said, it appears that nothing has changed with the Transit Grid project, despite all the calls for a cleaner project emphasizing solar energy. It's unclear what the phase consulting is and how this $3.5 million fits into the larger scheme, as is so often the case when we need to do hours of research to understand the context. We hope that you have not been wasting environmentalists' time with meaningless meetings, but all we see here is the original gas generation project and assurances of being consistent with other state goals, without even a link to those relevant plans. And here we are in February, looking at a budget that should have been passed in June. In addition, instead of working from actual spending last year, this starts from the 2021 projected budget. In the chart on budget presentation page 3, or agenda page 10, there's an item listed as efficiency and savings. So when one looks to find details, it is more properly called reductions 2 pages later. This is not a matter for self-congratulation. It is $158 million that was not needed, and as such should have been deducted from the first blue operating columns on the left, rather than presented as an outsized magenta column. Outsized because the 2 budget columns in blue are drastically out of scale with the orange and magenta additions and reductions, meaning all the middle columns seem to be greater than they are in reality. $82.1 million in clean energy funds. I hope it's actually going for clean energy, like the solar. We're not thrilled to see change orders and extensions of the contract with Conduit. We wonder why the 5-year contract is extended.
Thank you. I believe Sally Jane has disconnected. The next public comment is coming from Holly Cox. Holly, your line is live. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Holly Cox. I'm a 23-year resident of New Jersey. I'm here to ask you to please amend your RFP so it does not allow for a new fossil fuel power plant and instead requires the development of the project with 100% clean renewable energy. There are several problems with your current RFP. 1, it requires bidders to submit proposals for a centralized microgrid facility. This is not conducive to renewable solutions. 2, it allows bids that utilize fossil fuels now. 3, the evaluation process gives New Jersey Transit broad discretion to pick any bidder without clear and accountable standards. 4, it fails to include information about solar siting on New Jersey Transit property. 5, it allows New Jersey Transit to sell energy from fossil fuels to Amtrak. I've been speaking at these New Jersey Transit public meetings for over 2 years, and every time I comment on how I feel as if nothing is getting done. I listened intently at the beginning of this meeting to hear about any progress that's been made toward creating a clean microgrid, and I heard nothing. Is there a progress report update? With all due respect, what is the purpose of these meetings? To check a box? Where is your sense of urgency? Because I sure feel it. Look around you. New York City subways flooding, wildfires, stronger and scarier storms, hottest days on record in all of history, droughts, etc. We have to act now. Climate scientists tell us we have less than 10 years to drastically cut our emissions to keep our planet habitable. Joyce, who just retired, and congratulations to you, Joyce, said you're bringing New Jersey Transit to number 1. Well, the only way you're going to do that is to develop your project with 100% clean renewable energy and be a national leader. We simply cannot achieve real resiliency by building new fossil fuel infrastructure. The emissions from a new fossil fuel plant would further exacerbate the climate crisis and lock us into even more extreme weather events in the future. And it would increase the pollution burden in already burdened communities who suffer from the deadly consequences of decades of environmental racism. So please, I'm asking you once again to revise your RFP so that it does not allow for a new fossil fuel power plant and instead requires the development of the project with 100% clean renewable energy. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Rachel Davis. Rachel, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Rachel Dawn Davis, and I'm the Public Policy and Justice Organizer for Water Spirit, a nonpartisan, nonprofit spiritual ecology center, speaking on behalf of our thousands of members and growing throughout the state for over 20 years. I'm also a 39-year resident of New Jersey. I'm echoing all of Paula's comments and calls to action tonight in particular. I'm concerned especially with respect to the RFP given our work with eco-anxiety, flood defense, environmental justice, and green infrastructure here in New Jersey. At the start of your meetings, we get a window into your company's culture, and we can tell you're very proud of the work you're doing to support New Jerseyans. I thought New Jersey Transit was focusing on being a world leader and a model in creative energy solutions to enhance and secure ridership without the threats of ongoing toxic, unregulated natural gas. In our work outside the state, I had been holding up New Jersey Transit in this specific project as an example of what is working well with respect to the post-peak oil energy economy transition the right way. Future generations do not benefit from limitations put on bidders trying to submit design proposals that are informed by current science and known financial projections of a dying industry that kills people as the short-lived industry, continues to live. New Jersey Transit choosing reliable, healthy, long-term investment in public transit now is the choice that would suffice for the most vulnerable communities of most concern. The carbon neutral promise by 2050 allowance was especially concerning and is wildly inappropriate. Young people are increasingly dying by suicide, resulting from eco-anxiety and eco-grief, a loss of their perceived future. Consider the children and grandchildren today not choosing to have children. This is real. This piece of the proposal is counteractive to a livable future that has no place in the same state with the so-called landmark environmental justice law. First of its kind in the land, we can do better in expressing what that would look like. Natural gas knows no bounds, and we see the global measurements of methane being visibly illuminated for the first time last week for the entire world to see. We strongly suggest New Jersey Transit regroup and focus what limited time we have left on Earth
1 minute remaining
on grandchildren, such as your dear colleague, Joyce's. Congratulations, Joyce, and thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from David Pringle. David, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, David, your line is live. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is David Pringle. I'm representing Clean Water Action and serve on the Empower New Jersey Steering Committee. I feel like we're in Bill Murray's Groundhog's Day. Whether intended or not, this RFP permits a gas or a dirty energy power plant and needs to be amended to prioritize renewable energy. In short, it fails what the chair has previously committed to, the Paula standard, and I'm going to make 5 points. First, the RFP limits bidders to submit design proposals for a centralized energy generation facility. This excludes renewable solutions like solar and batteries, which are much more distributed, for example, at the power substations along the 3 selected rail lines. Distributed energy is inherently more efficient and more resilient than a centralized facility. 2, the RFP allows for proposals to be submitted that utilize fossil fuels or dirty energy now, as long as they can be transitioned to carbon neutral by 2050. That's very dangerous. Carbon neutral is not emissions neutral. Burning hydrogen and any kind of gas, biogas, RNG, wherever it comes from, landfills, sewer plants, fracking, traditional wells emits NOx, SOx, black carbon. It's against environmental justice. It also contradicts the governor's Executive Order 274 to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, and the Clean Energy Act, which requires us to bump up our Class 1 renewables significantly by 2030, and we're behind on that. Since this project is 100% publicly funded, transit should be leading the way, not dragging your feet. 3, New Jersey Transit's proposed process lacks any clear and accountable standards or how community and stakeholder needs and input will be considered. The RFP should be modified to explicitly reward points to bidders who maximize the use of clean energy and energy storage at the time the solution is developed, not carbon neutrality by 2050. 4, RFP fails to include critical information about solar siting. For example, a system-wide analysis of available solar and battery siting locations on existing New Jersey Transit property. Some of the key efforts to develop a solar component cannot be done by private entities. For example, can New Jersey Transit use eminent domain to buy air rights or lease rooftops on the most desirable properties? Private companies cannot. It would also be hard for bidders to determine legal and satisfactory lease contract terms on their own. It's very inefficient and costly for 4 different bidding entities to each do all the work to determine space, connections, leasing contracts, etc. It's much more efficient for New Jersey Transit to do this. The RFP permits selling electricity to Amtrak beyond the purpose of resiliency project and federal funding. It must only do so using clean, renewable energy sources. Selling electricity to Amtrak from polluting sources will only give transit a financial incentive
15 seconds remaining.
in communities in Kearney and surrounding towns and cities. Live up to your commitment. Meet the Paula standard.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Tim Sevener. Tim, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, Tim, your line is live. You may go ahead.
Yes. This is Tim Sevener, Sevener, from the Transit Village of Mount Tabor. And I would like to congratulate Joyce on her retirement. She's always been fantastic at the meetings and supported all the public advocates. So I'm just going to echo what people have already said. Environmental groups have been working for over 2 years with New Jersey Transit on redesigning the NJ Transit grid to pivot to primarily distributed renewable power instead of a huge centralized natural gas plant of 140 megawatts. We were pleased that New Jersey Transit met with us and our pro bono solar consultant about seriously pivoting the design to solar renewables. Unfortunately, the NJ Transit Grid RFP is basically a rehash of the 2014 8-year-old design, 90% reliant on a 140 megawatt natural gas plant or microgrid central facility, as noted on page 8. In response to these vulnerabilities, NJ Transit is implementing a new microgrid central facility. The project, designed to provide reliable power to support service and facilities for critical portions of NJ Transit's transportation infrastructure. And it also refers to the MCF as follows. The MCF will utilize electric generating technology with sufficient power generating capacity, satisfy load requirements during a commercial grid outage. New Jersey Transit has acquired title to approximately 20 acres of land located in Kearney, New Jersey, together with access and supporting associated easements. This site is available for the construction of the MCF. There is nothing mentioned about the 110 acres at First Coke surrounding the New Jersey Transit line land and the prospect of mounting solar panels on the warehouses that are already planned to surround it, or the potential of installing solar panels on the approaches to Newark Broad Street Station from the Morris and Montclair lines, or the even larger potential for a solar tunnel where I-280 goes below the adjacent Orange Station. While the Meadowlands maintenance facility is mentioned again, there is no mention of installing solar on its roof and other areas to guide a genuine renewable solution. New Jersey Transit should have provided our extensive distributed solar acreage estimates for the Morris line of 50 megawatts and 75 megawatts for the NEC to provide guidance to bidders. This is just very disappointing. I don't know why you paid Arcadia what they did. I mean, we've also identified other places. There's the Standard Chlorine site. There's a number of sites along the rail right-of-way which could be used or put panels on warehouse roofs to power this project. It has to go.
Thank you very much.
We need to. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next public comment is coming from David Allen. David, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Good evening. I am David Peter Allen, speaking in my personal capacity. Tonight I express my tribute to one of the finest and most professional people I have ever known, your secretary, Joy Zuchek, as she prepares to retire after 45 years' service to New Jersey Transit and its predecessor, the Commuter Operating Agency at NJ DOT. As the last of the original New Jersey Transit employees, Joyce has seen it all, from the time when Senator Frank Herbert managed to get the Transportation Act of 1979 through the Senate by a single vote, and Lou Gambaccini, the great commissioner, got the agency started. NJ Transit was a pace setter in the industry, and many of the original employees established major careers. Others who came later became legends in the field. With only 3 minutes, I don't have time to name them, but I knew many of them, and Joyce worked with them all. I will always remember the professionalism and dignity that Joyce always displayed in the face of hostile politics, natural disasters, and everything else that has happened since this agency began. I will also remember Joyce for the respect and concern that she showed for everybody, from the highest elected official to the ordinary rider. The Lackawanna Coalition honored Joyce when her position as board secretary was made permanent, and she got a standing ovation. That's a very rare occurrence here, but it was a token of all respect that Joyce deserved. Last month, I said that NJ Transit had reached a settlement with the late Russell Grady, Mr. G, in the nick of time in March 2020. Little did I or anyone else know that it would also be the last time that we would see Joyce in person. It's sad that we can't say goodbye to her that way. Joe Clift and Sally Gellert suggested that when in-person meetings return, there should be a ceremony to honor Joyce. I think that's a great idea. I conclude by calling your attention to the Railway Age website, railwayage.com, and 2 stories posted there earlier today. An interview with Kevin Corbett by my editor, Bill Vantuono, and one from me bearing the headline, End of an Era at NJ Transit, which is about you, Joyce. I want to thank Kevin for his statement and Paul Wyckoff and Nancy Snyder for their help. Railway Age often reports on career moves and retirements of the giants in the railroad and transit industries. Joyce, you have taken your rightful place among them, if there was ever any doubt. That article, along with the one I will write for the next issue of the Railgram, and this statement, comprise my personal tribute to you. New Jersey Transit will not be the same without you. I will miss you, but I assure you, I will never forget you. Thank you for all you have done through the years.
Thank you. And there are currently 9 public speakers remaining in queue at this time. Once again, there are 9 speakers remaining in the public comment queue at this time. And if anybody would like to join, again, you may press star 1 on your telephone keypad at this time to join the public comment queue. Once again, that will be star 1 on your telephone keypad to join the public comment queue. And the next public comment is coming from Nancy Griffith. Nancy, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Okay, thank you. My name is Nancy Griffith. I'm with Unitarian Universalist Faith Action, New Jersey. And also, I'm co-chair of the League of Women Voters Natural Resources Committee. I'm commenting today on the RFP for the New Jersey Transit Microgrid project. UU Faith Action is a faith-based group that subscribes to the principles of justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. To both organizations, UU Faith Action and the League of Women Voters, it's important to make sure that our actions support our environment and also support those living in communities overburdened with environmental damage. We are asking that you amend the RFP so that the project design cannot include a gas or dirty engine power plant and will prioritize renewable energy. We're concerned about the plans for this microgrid, even though we agree that resiliency of New Jersey Transit is important, and we are also pleased to see development of microgrids to provide resiliency to local areas. However, we oppose using a gas-fired power plant. First, doing it this way makes it more difficult to achieve the goals of the state's Energy Master Plan. The plan requires reduction of CO2, and the gas-fired plant will add to the greenhouse gas emissions in the state. This does nothing to reduce the major risks to New Jersey of climate change. Rather, it will increase them. In fact, it is climate change and the resulting increases in the power of storms that are making resiliency efforts like this one necessary. By increasing CO2 in the air, we are simply entering into a cycle of increased temperature, increasingly violent storms, and increased need for resiliency. Rather than just increasing the resiliency of our systems, we need also to try and reduce the need for resiliency. Second, the power plant will increase emissions. A gas-fired power plant will increase emissions in an already overburdened area. The New York Newark metropolitan area is ranked number 12 in ozone pollution in the nation, and Kearney is part of that. The American Lung Association gave an F rating to 9 of 15 New Jersey counties that were monitored for ozone. We know that ozone and particulate pollution are damaging to health in many ways, including increasing the chances of COVID. In addition, Kearney has already had multiple environmental issues of its own. So I ask you to amend the RFP to require a renewable solution and prohibit a gas-fired solution. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Kent Fairfield. Kent, your line is live, and you may begin now.
Thank you. My name is Kent Fairfield. I'm a 50-year resident of Maplewood, New Jersey, and for 20 of those years, I was a very happy commuter to New York on New Jersey Transit. And so you could say I'm a fan of NJT. That's why I'm very disappointed to hear how this new expansion of generating capacity is going this way. I'm a social psychologist and have for many years taught sustainability for how companies manage for sustainability. And one common rubric we used was people, really enlightened companies like yours, have to consider how the people in their midst and in their public can be managed, how the profits can be done responsibly, and care of the planet, sometimes known as the 3 Ps of people, profits, and planet. And it's not an easy job that senior management like you folks have to take care of because it would seem like you can't satisfy all 3 of those at once. But many, many companies have made great strides in doing just that. The challenge is how do we get people to change? Because traditionally people have thought, well, climate change, that's off in the distant future. And, well, doesn't bother me personally. And besides, how can we possibly fight it? It's so overwhelming. Well, now we see that this is not off somewhere else. It's currently the way we are experiencing climate change. Whether you had a house flood out in Jersey Shore or you know people who were struggling with devastation, hurricanes around the country or wildfires, it's now. And in many ways, it's getting personal. My town, after Hurricane Ida came through in an unprecedented way, one of the residents was out cleaning out a storm drain that night trying to help the flow, which was overwhelming the storm drain system. He was knocked over, thrown down the street, and was killed in the process. This is because of climate change. And we know how to reduce emissions.
1 minute remaining.
Okay. I think we really have to look at what the 2030 standards are going to be. Putting down a plan because it will eventually maybe make the 2050 standards is laughable. And the way you have gone through a so-called rework with something that comes out so heavily oriented toward methane generating, it really could be described as deceptive or manipulative to the public you serve. I hope you feel that if you can make proper decisions toward emission-free power, you can brag about it to your employees. They'll appreciate it. The public, the riding public will. As you try to get more ridership from younger people, they will tune into the fact that, hey, I can be proud I take electric trains and as opposed to driving to Hoboken and taking a train from there. So a lot of reasons you could take pride that you have really done a great job for the ages if you really step back and create a zero emissions kind of plant for this purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Richard Grant. Richard, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. I'm Richard Grant, a Hackensack resident and Don't Gas the Meadowlands member. The Transit Grid RFP Section 3 project summary contains ambiguity which could likely result in miscommunication, particularly for any shortlisted respondents that are technical professional services firms whose currently offered energy technologies range from gas turbines and generators to solar power and chemical and mechanical energy storage. The RFP requires the shortlisted respondents to be, quote, committed to delivering the project in a manner consistent with New Jersey's 2019 Energy Master Plan and Governor Murphy's renewable and/or clean energy goals, the acronym being RCEC. In fact, of the project objectives, the first one listed is encourage the maximum and efficient use of RCEC to reduce the carbon footprint to net zero by 2050 or sooner by way of technically sound and financially viable means. However, the RFP also states the original project configuration was developed to an approximately 20% baseline level of design. And that's a reference to the microgrid central facility being located in Kearney and designed to provide up to 140 megawatts of power through 5 natural gas fuel gensets, as well as 600 kilowatt PV solar site and energy storage flywheels. The RFP goes on to state that while the 20% design documents should be understood and appreciated, they are not a rigid blueprint for the project and should be considered as historical background. What guidance would 20% design documents provided to shortlisted respondents that must propose innovative technical concepts and solutions that comply with the RCEC requirements identified above? Again, say you are a technical professional services firm with an all-of-the-above range of energy technologies. By mentioning the 20% design documents in that manner, is New Jersey Transit hinting that the majority of the power still should be sourced from natural gas fuel gensets and that it is not dead serious that you should swing for the fences to obtain the maximum and efficient use of RCEC? The fact that the RFP mentions the 20% design documents but does not discuss the acreage that would be needed to install any renewable energy and energy storage technologies covered under the RCEC sends a clear message to shortlisted respondents to not encourage the maximum and efficient use.
15 seconds remaining.
And it creates the sense that New Jersey Transit's announced Project Reset was grudging and reluctant, and that the RFP would not be read by anyone outside the agency. I note a recent Inside Climate News post that found that between 2011 and 2019, the median generating capacity per acre of solar had increased by more than 40%. And here we are 3 years past that. Amend the RFP to remove the ambiguity. Thank you.
Your next public comment is coming from William McClellan. William, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Yes, I am William McClellan. I wanted to say a couple of things about Joyce, but I don't want them to count against my time. Is that possible? Hello?
You paused. There's a 3-minute limit for public comment.
I wanted to say something about Joyce, but I did not know she was retiring, and I would like them not to count against my time. Is that possible? Hello?
You can proceed now, please.
Okay, I will. Joyce, I'm sorry if you're listening. I wanted to talk about you, but I guess my time is going to be cut off. I don't believe it. I'm a volunteer with Food and Water Watch and a member of the Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition. New Jersey Transit's RFP still allows for a gas plant to be in Kearney to be at the center of the transit grid. You need to revise your plans. You need to eliminate the proposal for a gas power plant and focus all your energy and expertise on renewable solutions like solar and battery storage. And you can do this. And I'm addressing you, Mr. Corbett. You are an extremely intelligent, talented person. And as you have said, you have assembled an amazing team at New Jersey Transit. As you've pointed out, you had a deadline in 2020 for PTC, positive train control, to enhance train safety. You needed approval from the Federal Railroad Administration, or New Jersey Transit wasn't going to be allowed to run on the Northeast Corridor. Amtrak wasn't going to let you. The deadline wasn't flexible. Everybody was saying there was no chance you could make it and that you'd have to have an emergency plan. But Mr. Corbett, you worked on this. You put all your energy and your amazing people into it, and you did it, right? You told your team, we're going to get this done. You even gave it a name. You called it Project Seabiscuit, after the horse that came from behind. Nobody thought you could do it, but you did. You can do transit grid without a gas plant if you put the talent that you have there and just decide to do it. It is possible. Our organizations are ready and willing to work with you on this, as we have demonstrated. There is a lot of expertise among all of us, but you have to be serious. You have to make a commitment to use renewables and not burn. You need to address exactly the way you addressed PTC, all hands on deck. You can even call it Seabiscuit 2.0.
1 minute remaining.
We have to stop burning fossil fuels on this planet. This planet can't take it. It's proving that every day. Since I have a couple of seconds, I just want to say to Joyce, I don't know you really. I haven't met you. But every time I've called New Jersey Transit and left messages, you have called me back. You've been wonderful. I'm amazed at all the wonderful comments that have been made about you, and congratulations on your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Talia Crawford. Talia, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Talia Crawford, the campaign organizer for Tri-State Transportation Campaign. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. Last Friday, February 4th, was Transit Equity Day, where Tri-State and other advocacy groups honored the life and legacy of Rosa Parks. We heard from riders around the state about their experiences with New Jersey Transit. For example, Golda, a rider from Elizabeth, said, "Almost all the bus stops in Elizabeth do not have shelter. I feel unprotected from the sun, rain, and snow because most bus stops do not have any covered areas. I feel invisible at night when buses cruise right past me because it's too dark and there is no designated area to stand. I feel unseen and overlooked by New Jersey Transit when this happens." Another rider, Lily from Parsippany, said, "It is difficult to take the bus with a disability. First, walking to the nearest stop is a hike, and then once I get on the bus, it takes 3 hours and 2 transfers each way just to get to Newark. We need better service out here." New Jersey Transit has two distinct customers, those who take transit as a choice and those who take transit out of need. And the pandemic has highlighted this difference. Even though commuter rail ridership decreased almost entirely, intra-city bus ridership retained more riders. It was essential workers who continued to rely on New Jersey Transit throughout the pandemic, and they will continue to rely on it after. Transit-dependent riders rely on New Jersey Transit, and we shouldn't limit their access or freedom of mobility. I encourage New Jersey Transit to check out the recording of our forum that is available online, and I'd be happy to provide details to access. With regards to the budget, we are halfway through the 2022 fiscal year, which is on the agenda this evening, and understandably due to the disputes of the federal dollars. However, the governor is announcing the budget for the 2023 fiscal year next month, so we need to look ahead and focus on that. Nonetheless, the funding issues that haunt New Jersey Transit remain the same. The practice of capital transfers to the operating budget to pursue preventative maintenance projects have resulted in a loss of opportunity to invest in well over $10 billion, which has been an impediment to expanding service, various redesign projects, and electrifying the bus fleet. As large amounts are transferred every year, we lose ground on important projects in both the short and long term. Furthermore, entering the third year of COVID, the projected fare box revenue for 2022's fiscal year remains at a mere 50% of pre-pandemic levels. This is concerning, as once the federal dollars we receive to make up the loss are gone, we will still be left with the problem of identifying a sustainable and reliable funding for New Jersey Transit operating needs. And we need to safeguard our transit-dependent riders. They cannot afford to pay for future fare hikes or service cuts. They rely on New Jersey Transit. So thank you for your time tonight and looking forward to the continued work ahead. And Joyce, congratulations on your retirement. I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you. There are 6 participants remaining in the public comment queue at this time. Once again, there are 6 participants remaining in public queue at this time. And the next public comment is coming from Catherine McCaffrey. Catherine, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Hi, I'm Catherine McCaffrey. I'm a 24-year resident of Maplewood, New Jersey, a community my husband and I selected because of its proximity to the Midtown direct train line. Our transit is a crucial part of the quality of our lives, the value of our home, and the accessibility of our community. I'm calling tonight to urge you to make sure that our transit system is clean and carbon neutral. Specifically, I urge you to amend the RFP for the New Jersey Transit Microgrid project so that the project design cannot include a gas or dirty energy power plant. It is crucial that our transit system prioritize renewable energy. In order to meet Governor Murphy's goal to make our entire economy carbon neutral by 2050, we need to start to develop all new electric generation infrastructure using 100% clean, renewable energy. A new goal should be established to develop the project today with as close to 100% clean renewable energy and energy storage technologies as technically feasible to achieve New Jersey's codified interim benchmarks for clean energy and energy storage. And I urge you to amend your plans to ensure a gas power plant is not on the table. Thank you for prioritizing the needs of our children and the urgency of climate heating in your decision-making process.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Layla Charney. Layla, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Thank you. This is Layla Charney. I'm a member of Food and Water Action. Good wishes to Joyce on your work, who you are, and on your retirement. So many people have gone before me with a depth of understanding of the current situation with the microgrid. And I too am in support of amending the RFP to prevent there from being a power plant, a federal power plant. The current environmental crisis in the world and in New Jersey was the wisdom of not doing that a couple of years ago was a very wise decision and instilled hope that it would that New Jersey Transit understood that the design of the project was needed to fully access renewable energy sources. And in the spirit of being number one, in the spirit of New Jersey's interest, New Jersey Transit's interest in being in the 21st century is the rollout of the electric buses, which is coming up, which is something very, very positive and very important. We know that there have been so many existing power plants in and around Kearney area that have damaged the health and well-being of our communities, and especially in communities of color. It's essential that we do no further harm, so that the amendment of the RFP to make sure that we don't include a power plant is essential at this point. I think that there are people on this call who have excellent expertise in how this could be done. And it seems that in the kind of welcoming and inclusive spirit of New Jersey Transit's board, that this would be an opportunity to really connect with some of the expertise of the people that have spoken today. I think that New Jersey has been a leader in the state and in the country. We need to invest in the development of renewable energy sources currently now, because it's going to take a while before everything really gets expanded. We need to ensure our future create jobs, reduce greenhouse gases, and build an infrastructure that will endure and not despoil the environment. So thank you.
Thank you. Your next public comment is coming from Matthew Walsh. Matthew, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Walsh. I'm a member of New Jersey Association of Railroad Passengers. I thank the Board of Directors for the opportunity to comment. My two major area of concerns involve two rail lines that one is abandoned, one is only partially abandoned. Neither have had passenger rail service for decades. The one line is from Montclair to Jersey City. And Governor Murphy has wisely chosen to preserve that right-of-way for both a pedestrian bike trail and also for potential public transportation utilization in the future. The second line is the former Newark branch of Conrail, which is now called the Newark Industrial Siding, and that goes from Newark to Patterson. Both lines are potential light rail transit right-of-ways, and it's very urgent, I believe, that we convert them to light rail transit. The one line, the Newark Industrial Siding, NJTPA has looked at several different options with that, and Plan A option calls for light rail from Newark to Patterson. Those two lines actually converge in North Newark, approximately a half a mile east of Washington Avenue. Potentially, these lines in concert could provide connections, a triangular connection, not only from Montclair to Newark and Patterson, but also to Secaucus Junction, and also to the waterfront where HBLRT currently is. This triangular connection would obviate the need for a lot of cars, which means it combats climate change and traffic congestion. Electric cars alone will not stop our problem with climate change. And also, the same towns that these two rights-of-way traverse, including Belleville, Nutley, Bloomfield, Montclair, Clifton, Newark, and Patterson, they all have increasing population per the Census 2020 results. So I feel it's very urgent. They'll give that a high priority, not have bus rapid transit, but utilize LRT, because these lines connect with existing LRT lines, such as HBLRT. We have uniformity of equipment purchase, and we don't have any breaks in connectivity, and less need for automobiles, which is part of climate change. Now, one thing I like to I also oppose the gas plant. I think we should have the solar panels installed on a former Copper's Coke site, along with the adjacent site on top of warehouse roofs and other New Jersey Transit assets. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Adam Wright. Adam, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening. First of all, I wanted to check in and see if there was any update on the selection process for the new customer advocate. Where are we? Are we at an interview phase? Are we still taking in resumes? Are we announcing a hire? I joined the call late, so I apologize if any of this did happen to be covered earlier. And also, I guess, where can we expect to be by the end of March on this front? And, of course, on related initiatives like the Customer Advisory Board that I've mentioned in the past. Secondly, the MTA this week announced some initiatives with fares and some new offerings. I think of note was fare capping, where, if you ride X number of times, I think it's 12 in a given week, they automatically treat you as if you have a weekly pass and your remaining rides are free for the balance of that week. I think that would be great to see extended to New Jersey Transit's fare structure. You guys were ahead of the game with them on the Flex Pass. One thing they are doing now is discounting monthly passes temporarily by 10% to lure riders in. I think that would be great to see as a rider. Beyond that, I would ask, revisit things that you offered in the past but don't offer now, notably the off-peak round-trip tickets. These were discontinued during one of the budget crises. It's something I think riders are still clamoring for. I think it would be great to see a return on some sort of incentive, even though I do recognize off-peak ridership is relatively strong compared to peak ridership. On ridership patterns, don't forget your reverse peak commuters. In November, you cut one of the trains in the afternoon, train 3862 out of Trenton. You made 3864 a local and lengthened its running time significantly. Please consider revisiting that. Since that change, state workers are back in the office full-time, no remote option. Also look at the Northeast Corridor schedule. As I've mentioned before, train 3898 doesn't make Middlesex County stops. You have an hour gap at those stations during the 5:30, 6:30 window. It's actually below what you offer on weekends. Consider restoring reverse peak trips you've discontinued in the past on other lines as well. Speaking time is another thing I do want to mention. Committee meetings, you only allot 2 minutes for speaking compared to 3 here, and here used to be 5 minutes. Can we consider lengthening that, at least bringing the committee speaking time up to 3 minutes to match what you have here? As a writer who pays thousands of dollars each year, I do appreciate the accessibility many board members have offered, both online and offline, but having a little more time to articulate my points without being rushed would be meaningful. Particularly 2 minutes in a committee setting is extremely rushed. If you don't have a lot of speakers set to join in, perhaps do it that way. 3 minutes if we have fewer than 10 speakers, something like that. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Your next public comment is from Melvin Gibson. Melvin, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Yes, good evening. I just had a general question. I just have, 3 points I wanted to make. I wanted to congratulate Joyce for her years of service to the agency and to the community at large. Secondly, I wanted to know if there was a liaison between the HR department and the board, and if there is a liaison, who would be the lead person or the board member that would be the liaison between HR and the board. And if I could just get that information, I would appreciate it. Oh, and the third piece was that I'm for the movement of zero emissions. So whatever can be done to make that happen would be very appreciative for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Your next public comment is from Doug O'Malley. Doug, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you so much. My name is Doug O'Malley, Director with Environment New Jersey, representing more than 80,000 activists and members of the organization. Let me just add to the cavalcade of praise for Joyce. I think all of us should endeavor to live a life where we do something for 40 years and we do it well enough that everybody in a room, virtual or not, wants to thank you and then also to call for a celebration. I also want to add my voice and organizational voice in support of the massive concerns that have been raised by members of the Don't Gas the Meadowlands Coalition regarding the RFP for the Transit process. I wanted to spend the bulk of my testimony, though, referring to some testimony from strap hangers that haven't been able to attend regular board meetings. And Talia Crawford from the Tri-State Transportation Campaign referenced some of those voices as part of Transit Equity Day. And that day, last Friday, we heard from a multitude of transit riders about bus service, especially across North Jersey, and the need to have more electrification of buses for New Jersey Transit. I wanted to also just reflect on some of the items that were brought up in President Corbett's report. One, still clearly, ridership is down. New Jersey Transit obviously had a body blow from the Omicron surge. We obviously know the COVID impacts are still with us, and the $1 million or the $64 million question is how much of these changes are permanent. The federal funding, which President Corbett referenced, obviously are playing a huge role in the current funding for New Jersey Transit. We're still living on that sugar high of that federal funding. It is desperately needed. And the question is, how long will it go and how quickly will ridership come back? I also want to reference the very welcome news on the ongoing process for the new Northern Bus Garage in Reedsville Park will be the hub for electric buses. Also to note, too, clearly certainly not welcome news to have the delay in the delivery of electric buses in Camden. Obviously, understood on the necessity to have a competitive process for bidders. I just want to, emphasize the critical nature of New Jersey Transit continuing with its rollout of electric buses over the course of the roughly, in the next 3 years, to be able to reach the legislative mandate of 10% sales being electric buses by the end of 2024. And one of the critical ways that we're going to do that is to ensure that funding and dedicated funding happens in Trenton. It's a new day in Trenton, but hopefully it's not Groundhog Day again. We need dedicated funding. The governor said he was open to dedicated funding during the campaign, and the FY23 budget needs to have dedicated funding to end the capital operating raids that have hobbled New Jersey Transit's capital budget. Thank you so much, and obviously we'll be paying attention to the budget that comes out, as all of you will be as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next public comment is coming from Joseph Clift. Joseph, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Good evening. My name is Joe Clift. I first want to add my congratulations to Joyce Zuchek on her retirement. You could not have a better public servant. Professional, courteous, helpful, very, very thoughtful, thorough. There's no way I can think of that one could have a better person than that. And one of the things I think that was mentioned by the chair, Joyce's legacy planning makes it possible to continue her quality service after she leaves, and I hope Megan Umakaro is able to take that position. Also, as mentioned by Dave Allen and others, if the first time we have a public session where we're in person, someday we'll do that, I'd love to have an opportunity for Joyce to come back and all of us recognize her in person. That would really be wonderful. I also want to congratulate Jim Sincaglia on his promotion to Senior VP and General Manager of Rail Ops, long overdue. On the purchase of the multi-levels, the 25 multi-levels, I want to go back to the plan for delivering the first 113 of the multi-level 3s, of which 58 are the power cars that are needed for the aero fleet to be retired. And I know that the Vice Chair has been asking about this for some time. It would be nice to know, somebody on the board hopefully will ask when that presentation comes up, why the delivery of the first 113 multi-level 3s is delayed by 15 months. The current schedule today shows 15 months later. The gentleman from Matthew Marino, I think, from earlier conversations asked, when are we getting new cars? So it'd be nice to know why that delay. Also, in the graph that shows that delay in the package today, PDF page 30, why is the Portal North expanded service delayed to June 2028 when it was supposed to be July 2026? And last, on the operating budget, I want to echo some issues that others have raised, but also I think it may be worth pushing this off for another month. You're 7 months late. There's no reason it can't go to 8. I'd hope the board members ask a couple of questions.
1 minute remaining.
For instance, the line item that says capital preventive maintenance, which is a euphemism for capital to operating transfers, which nobody wants to recognize what it is, it's going up from fiscal 21 actual to fiscal 22 by $8 million. Why is this going up? That's crazy. It's supposed to be going down, especially given that there are $2.5 billion of federal support already appropriated for New Jersey Transit after the end of this fiscal year. So from July 23 forward, you've got $2.5 billion. Why isn't that number going up? It's actually down by, I think, $20 million in the new budget. That number should go up. Some of that capital, maybe all that capital, should not be put into operations. Passenger revenues, your forecast is now $70 million below the fiscal 22 budget. How can you start a budget when you're $70 million lower? The graph on PDF page 13 shows that. So I hope some questions are asked. I hope the budget's put off and is presented to the administrative committee like it's supposed to be legally. One last comment. Once again, the President's letter is...
Thank you. And there are no public comments remaining in queue at this time. Once again, there are no participants remaining in the public comment queue at this time.
Thank you, and thank you, public speakers. I will now poll board members for comments. Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
Yes, Joyce, thank you. I guess my comment to all the speakers who spoke about the transit grid and the RFP, as a member of the Energy and Sustainability Committee, we hear your comments loud and clear, but but I really don't think it's appropriate for me as a board member to comment any further on what I consider an act of procurement. To Matthew Marino, I would like to know a little bit more of the details about, I believe what he said was he rides the Gladstone line, and he seems that the trains are old and they're neglected. So I just want, if the team could just, group with him and see specifically what he's referring to, and if there's anything in our maintenance or our capital budget that can address some of his issues. And finally, Talia Crawford, and I really apologize if I'm butchering anybody's name, mentioned something about bus stops in Elizabeth, and I would just like if the team could maybe connect with her and see if these bus stops are the responsibility of the city of Elizabeth, or if there's something that New Jersey Transit can do. Because I understand the concern with being out there and trying to catch the bus with no bus stops, with no shelters in inclement weather. So I would just hope that the team could possibly look into that. And again, thank you to everybody who took the time out of their day today and tonight to give the comments to New Jersey Transit. No other comments, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
Yes, thank you. I want to just thank everyone who spoke this evening. I'm going to let the Energy and Environment Committee address questions about the transit grid. One comment I would like to make is in response to Anna Leone, my former constituent from New Milford, who raised questions about the Access Link operations. I just want to assure her and others that this is a subject that's getting a lot of attention from the board and senior management, and we are committed to improving the level of service for Access Link. And I think I will leave it there. Again, thank you all very much for your comments this evening.
Thank you. Board Member Marocco, do you have any comments?
No, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Nara, do you have any comments?
I do, Joyce. I'm sorry. So there were several things. I'm going to echo what Board Member Gordon said about Ms. Leone's comments with Access Link. We're both on the operations and committee, and we've had discussions about this. I know staff and the administration are very concerned about Access Link and the lack of drivers and other issues. And so I would encourage her to continue to ask the questions, but understand that we are very focused on that as well. I do also want to address comments by Matthew Marino and echo, I think, what Board Member Adams had raised, asking the team if they could give us some more information about the conditions on the Gladstone line. And let's see here. I've got my notes here. Talia Crawford, too. I wish I had been able to, participate or at least view the transit equity event. I've heard from people about what was communicated during the event, and I remain very open to hear about issues and figure out with the team what we can do to alleviate a lot of the concerns that people were raising, whether it's regarding access, whether it's regarding safety. So if there are, and I have to profess my ignorance of how that event was run. If there is a tape or a recording of it, I would encourage people who were involved with that to forward it to me, certainly, because I would love to see that and get a better idea of what the comments from public and our customers were on these issues. And I also want to address, let's see here, Adam Reich, because you asked about the customer advocate process. I will tell you, the administration staff gave me the opportunity to announce that the job posting is going out this Friday. There had been an earlier posting, and that had gotten pulled because there were
I won't just say tweaks. There were some fundamental changes we wanted to make, and we wanted to, I think I've mentioned this before, we really want to get this right. So the new revised job posting is going out Friday. It's my understanding that it will be posted for 30 days. We will begin the process of reviewing all of the applications. I hope that there are a lot. I imagine that there are some incredibly talented people in the area that, I would look forward to everybody interacting with and seeing who we can get. This is a very intense job, and we're going to be asking a lot of this person. And so the process of selecting who the advocate is going to be intense. And I promise to give Adam, as well as anyone else interested and all of our customers, updates as soon as we can. But this is not going to be a long, drawn-out process. We're going to move as efficiently through it as possible. And those are the only comments I have. Thank you very much, Joyce.
Thank you. Board Member Spola, do you have any comments?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
No comments, Joyce.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
No comments, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I will call on Anna Marie Ganella Rosado, who will present the advisory committee report.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, board members, and New Jersey Transit. Thank you for the opportunity to present the North and South PAC report. First, I'd like to thank the board members for holding down fare increases for the 5th year in a row. We appreciate that. The Popular Student Pass program will continue during the spring school semester. When students purchase 3-month passes, they receive 1 month free. Tickets are good on buses, rails, and light rail. New Jersey Transit is seeking feedback from industrial professionals for the Northern Bus Project. This project is a construction of a new 500-bus garage with maintenance capacity and necessary infrastructure to support 100% zero-emissions bus fleet. Glad to hear New Jersey Transit received a $470,000 grant from FTA to partner with Old Bridge Township to develop a comprehensive transit-oriented development study along Route 9 bus corridor in Middlesex and Monmouth counties. Transit will host a virtual industry forum on March 14th to advance the project. Recently, Transit launched its new transit-friendly planning guide with a webinar on February 4th. The guide is designed to provide recommendations to communities, elected officials, staff, and other interested in improving the relationship between land use planning, circulation, and access to transit. I, along with other PAC members, attended the webinar. The PACs consider the contracts on tonight's agenda for more modern, high-tech fare collection and data, and the resilient power supply for the area served by the microgrid, very important. Thanks to President Corbett and the other New Jersey Transit employees for the winter storm preparations on January 28th and 29th, and for the snow removal and cleanup during this winter season. Congratulations to Jim Sicagna for his appointment to Senior Vice President, General Manager of Rail Operations. We appreciate all his hard work keeping the rail system operating during the pandemic and look forward to him attending one of our meetings. The next meeting of the North and South Committee will be held virtually on February 18th. And finally, Joyce, on behalf of the North and South PACs, I want to thank you for your long, dedicated career at New Jersey Transit and wish you well in transferring the preparation of agendas for the preparation of diaper changes. Both have deadlines. Thank you very much for your service. Madam Chair, that concludes my report, and happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you, Anna Marie. At this time, I will call on Board Member Giblin to present the Operations and Customer Service Committee report.
Good evening, Chair. The Operations and Customer Service Committee received an update on trends, analysis, and actions for rail, bus, light rail, and Access Link. The committee also received an update on the cost of service. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Board Member Giblin. At this time, I will call on Board Member Marocco, who will present the Administration Committee report.
Thank you. The Administration Committee received a financial update. This included a summary of operating results compared to previous year's comparable period and preliminary budget. 12-month farebox revenue compared to pre-COVID, passenger revenue actuals versus pre-COVID, major balance sheet items, and federal COVID-19 relief grant drawdown summary. Additional information was provided as part of the agenda materials, including the cost of service key performance indicators, 12-month farebox recovery, history of vacancies, attritions and hires, monthly hires by department, ridership and revenue, and a monthly budget to actual comparison for July 2021 to December 2021. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Board Member Marocco. At this time, I will call on Vice Chair Fulton to present the Capital Planning, Policy, and Privatization Committee report.
Thank you, Chair. The Capital Planning, Policy, and Privatization Committee discussed the board items for the additional authorization and one-year extension of New Jersey Transit contract for the improvements, maintenance, and support of customer ticketing, fare payment, and collection systems and networks with Conduit Transport Solutions Incorporated. The Portal North project, purchase of 25 multi-level 3 vehicles and contract amendment for consultant services, New Jersey Transit Resilience Program, New Jersey Transit Microgrid Central Facility Project, supplementary funding for continued design, engineering, construction assistance, and other technical services for the New Jersey Transit Grid, contracting out, Middlesex County area local bus service, and concrete cross ties. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Vice Chair Fulton. At this time, I'll call on President and CEO Corbett to present the action items.
Thank you, Chair. I'd now like to introduce Bill Vaquero, Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer, and Treasurer, to present Board Item 2202-07 regarding the fiscal year 22 operating budget. Bill?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are recommending approval of Item 2202-07, fiscal year 2022 operating budget. Authorization is requested that the New Jersey Transit Board of Directors adopt the fiscal year 2022 operating budget in the amount of $2.6495 billion as detailed in the item and on Exhibits A, B, and C. We ask for approval of Item 2202-07.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2202-07?
Motion, Marocco.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second, Nara.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Joyce, please poll the board members for comments.
Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
Yes, Joyce, I do. As with the previous budgets, I can't vote in favor of the fiscal year 2022 operating budget. This 2022 operating budget contains $360 million in federal formula funds that have been allocated for the capital preventive maintenance, a totally legal and allowed transfer of funds, what I would call a capital to operating transfers. And I believe this practice probably started way before I got on the board, possibly as early as 1990. However, this practice must stop. In the worst of fiscal times, I can almost understand why we had employed this practice, but I cannot understand why, with over $2 billion of unspent Carissa and ARPA funds available, that we are still taking money from our capital funds to plug this operating gap. Also, even after many board member requests, we still only get a board briefing. There's no budget workshops and there's no working sessions where different budgets, Plan A, B, C, or whatever the case may be, is presented to the board that we can get an in-depth or detailed opinion or a chance to make some type of what I consider board-level decisions. So, based on those facts, I cannot vote in favor of the fiscal year 2022 operating budget. Those are the end of my comments, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Marocco, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Nara, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Spalla, do you have any comments?
No comment, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
No comment, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
No comments. Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
No.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Marocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Spalla?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Joyce. And now I'd like to ask Bill to present Board Item 2202-08 regarding fare collection payment systems.
Thank you, President Corbett. We are recommending approval of Item 2202-08, additional authorization and one-year extension of New Jersey Transit Contract Number 18-013 for improvements, maintenance, and support of customer ticketing, fare payment, and collection systems and networks with Conduit Transport Solutions, Inc. Authorization is requested to amend the contract with Conduit Transport Solutions, Inc. to add $1,216,968.61 plus requested contingency, and to extend the contract for a one-year period ending December 31st, 2023. As a result, the revised cost will not exceed $19,868,640.07 plus 5% for contingencies for a total of $20,862,072.07, subject to availability of funds. We ask for your approval of Item 2202-08.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2202-08?
Motion, Fulton.
May I have a second?
Second,
Marocco.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Joyce, please poll the board members for comments.
Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
No, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Marocco, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Nara, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Board Member Spalla, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Marocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Spalla?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Yes, thank you, Joyce. I'd like Bill to present his last item for tonight, 2202-09, a personal injury claim. Bill?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are recommending approval of Item 2202-09, personal injury claim of Mark Murray. Authorization is requested to settle the claim of Mark Murray through his attorney at an amount discussed in executive session. The Attorney General has approved the proposed settlement subject to availability of funds. We ask for approval of item 2202-09.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 220209?
Motion, Nara.
May I have a second?
Second, Morocco.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Joyce, please poll for comments.
Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
No comment, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Morocco, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Nora, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Spauller, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
No comments. Joyce, please just take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nora?
Yes.
Board Member Spaulla?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Joyce. Now I'd like to introduce Eric Vallejo, Senior Vice President, Capital Programs, to present Board Item 2202-10 regarding the option on multi-level 3 vehicles. Eric.
Thank you, President Corbett. We are recommending approval of Item 2202-10, Portal North Bridge Project, purchase of 25 option multi-level 3 vehicles, and contract amendment for consultant services. Authorization is requested to exercise an option under the existing contract with Bombardier Transit Corporation of Bensalem, Pennsylvania, for the purchase of 25 option multi-3 vehicles at a cost not to exceed $74,111,931 plus 5% for contingencies, for a total authorization of $77,817,527.55, subject to the availability of funds. Authorization is also requested to amend the professional services contract with LTK Engineering Services of Ambler, Pennsylvania, for the engineering assistance of the manufacture of 25 option multi-level 3 vehicles at a cost not to exceed $491,000 plus 5% for contingencies, for a total authorization of $515,550, subject to the availability of funds. We ask for your approval of Item 2202-10.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2202-10?
So moved, Adams.
May I have a second?
Second, Nara.
Any discussion? Joyce, please poll the board members for comments.
Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
No comments, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Morocco, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Nora, do you have any comments?
No comments, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Spaulla, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
No, thank you, Joyce.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nora?
Yes.
Board Member Spola,
Yes.
Board Member Giblin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton,
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Cacchetti.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Joyce. Now I'd like Eric to introduce board item 2202-11 regarding supplementary funding for technical services for NJ Transit Bridge project. Eric?
Thank you, President Corbett. We're recommending approval of item 2202-11, NJ Transit Resilience Program, NJ Transit Grid, Microgrid Central Facility Project, supplementary funding for continued design, engineering, construction assistance, and other technical services for the NJ Transit Grid project. Authorization here is requested to extend a contract with Jacobs Engineering Group of Morristown, New Jersey, to provide consultant services in the amount of $3,500,000 plus 5% for contingencies subject to the availability of funds. We ask for your approval of item 2202-11.
Motion to approve board item 2202-11.
So moved, Adams.
May I have a second?
Second, Fulton.
Any discussion on the motion? Joyce, please poll the board.
Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
No comments, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
No comments, thanks.
Thank you. Board Member Marocco, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Nara, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Spola, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Marocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Spola?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Cacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great. Thank you, Joyce. I'd now like to introduce Mike Kilcoyne, Senior Vice President, Service Transit and Bus Operations, to present board item 2202-12 regarding Middlesex County Local Bus Service. Mike?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are recommending approval of item 2202-12, contracting out Middlesex County Area Local Bus Service. Authorization is requested to enter into a contract with Suburban Trails Incorporated of New Brunswick, New Jersey, to operate the Middlesex County Local Bus Service for a 36-month base contract period from May 29th, 2022 through May 24th, 2025, at a cost not to exceed $31,352,361, plus 5% for contingencies, for a total contract authorization of $32,919,979, subject to the availability of funds and board approval of New Jersey Transit's operating budget. We ask for your approval of item 2202-12.
May I have a motion to approve board item 2202-12?
Motion, Marocco.
May I have a second?
Second, Gordon.
Any discussion on the motion? Joyce, please poll the board members.
Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
No comments, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Marocco, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Nara, do you have any comments?
None, thank you, Joyce.
Thank you. Board Member Spola, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
No, Joyce, thank you.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Marocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Spola?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Cacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Jim Sincaglia, still the acting Senior Vice President and General Manager of Rail Operations, to present Board Item 2202-13 regarding concrete cross ties. Jim?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are recommending approval of Item 2202-13, concrete cross ties. Authorization is requested to enter into a contract with Rocca Concrete Tie Incorporated of Lakewood, Colorado, for concrete cross ties in the amount not to exceed $2,537,500 plus 5% for contingency, subject to the availability of funds. We ask for your approval of Item 2202-13.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2202-13?
Motion, Nara.
Second,
May I have a
Giblin.
second? Any discussion on the motion? Joyce, please poll the board.
Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
No comments, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
No comments, thanks.
Thank you. Board Member Marocco, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Nara, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Spola, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
None, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Gutierrez Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
No comments, Joyce.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Marocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Spola?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez Cacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you, Joyce. It's now my pleasure to move the next board item, 2202-14, the appointment of Senior Vice President and General Manager for New Jersey Transit Rail Operations, Inc. Diane, turn it over to you.
Thank you. And who are you appointing, Kevin?
I'm sorry. The hopefully soon to be former acting Senior Vice President and General Manager, Jim Sincaglia.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2202-14, appointing Jim Sincaglia as the Senior Vice President and General Manager of New Jersey Rail Operations, Inc.
Motion, Marocco.
May I have a second?
Second, Nara.
Any discussion on the motion? Joyce, please take roll call.
Board Member Adams, do you have any comments?
Just one comment, Joyce, and Jim Sincaglia should be proud of this promotion. It's well deserved. Good job, and please let the board and Kevin know what we can do to help this transition and to help you be a total success in your new position. Congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you. Board Member Gordon, do you have any comments?
Only my congratulations again and best wishes to Jim.
Thank you. Board Member Marocco, do you have any comments?
Just to join in everyone in saying congratulations to Jim. A perfect guy for the job, well deserved.
Thank you. Board Member Nara, do you have any comments?
I'll just echo my other board members. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you. Board Member Spola, do you have any comments?
No comments, but congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Giblin, do you have any comments?
Just congratulations to Jim and wish you much success in your new role.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fulton, do you have any comments?
Yes, I too would like to congratulate Jim and let him know that it's been a great run, and I look forward to continued success.
Thank Thank you. Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti, do you have any comments?
I do, Joyce. I would just like to thank Jim for his patience as we went through the process, for the hard work he has done as our acting SVP. I know it took patience, and it's not the easiest thing to be acting, but hopefully it was well worth the wait. And we welcome you to the permanent seat on the team.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Board Member Adams?
Yes.
Board Member Gordon?
Yes.
Board Member Marocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Spalla?
Yes.
Board Member Giblin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fulton?
Yes.
Chair Gutierrez-Cacchetti?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Since there is no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion, no.
May I have a second?
Second, Giblin.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a nice evening. Thank you.
Night all.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may now disconnect your phone lines. This does conclude today's meeting. Once again, you may disconnect your phone lines at this time and have a wonderful evening. Thank you for your participation.